Good morning, y'all. It is the race day. Car's all ready to go. Just about to fire it up and back it out. You can see there in the background. Got the truck and the trailer hooked up. Using the black one today. Hasn't been driven in a while, so good for it. We'll still bring out old blue for other pulls, but not today. Car's ready to go. It's nice and clean now, finally. Making a mess on the streets, kind of brutal. But just about to get it out. Got the truck pretty much all packed up, and then we're ready to hit the road. So really all we gotta do is put this on the trailer. So let's get to it. Wakey, wakey. What's up, everyone? We are at the track. We made it successfully. Nice short easy drive out here to Rock Falls. Brought the car up to tech, everything passed, flying colors, so we're all good there. I kind of already pre-did a tune up for it. Should make around 19 pounds, leave on about 10-ish, so we'll see what happens, but I'm ready to go make a pass. The car is iced down, we're running. It's a nice quiet day, not a whole lot of people here, so should be a pretty fun time. Get some data, learn some stuff, see how it goes. Work on the chassis, work on the tune-up, and maybe we'll go fast, who knows. But I'm gonna get my suit on and head up there. All right, peeps, first pass of the year. So I made the first pass with a 580 on only 17 PSI. So the big red line is the RPM trace. And then we'll come over, I'll put it in the boost one. Air fuel was 11.0, learning at like 4% the whole time, so not complaining about that. Coolant pressure was fantastic. Still had a little bit of a boost spike in it, but it wasn't terrible. I kind of tamed that out of it a little bit yesterday with some PID tuning, but not upset by any means. Yeah, for a 580 on only 17 pounds, that's pretty freaking badass. Went like a 136, 60 foot, only left on 11 pounds or so. Not upset about any of that one bit. That is pretty awesome for just, new motor, new heads, just coming out here, shaking it down. Not winging it, but kind of winging it, so can't be happier. So we're gonna let it cool off for a little bit, which it didn't even really get hot at all. And then we'll head back up and make another rip. Here we go, next pass. guys, finishing this video off from the shop. I know you probably wanted to see some more passes or see me talking about how the last pass went and all that good stuff, but it wasn't so great after that second pass. So if you could tell and hear in the audio, it was real lazy getting on the chip. And if you know, I've worked the table pretty hard on this car to make it spool up, and I even tamed it down a little bit just because it sounded kind of funky in the last one. I was like, all right, maybe I won't pull so much timing. It should build boost, no problem. And so, and I wasn't even on as much boost as I'd left on before. So, you know, soften the table up just a little bit, but still plenty aggressive for it to build boost, basically. Because the first pass, it felt like it was lazy. Like it was like I had too much timing out of it. So I gave it a little bit back, like, oh, this should light it off pretty good. And it didn't on that second pass, so it kind of just sat there. Then it just like just, you know, barely on the chip. And so that first indication to me was like, something ain't right. And so I let off the button, and it just didn't feel great. I mean, it went all right. It went like a 570, had like 21 pounds in it. But get back in, looking at the data log, and I noticed converter pressure is very high while I'm on the trans brake. And if you know anything about that stuff, it's not very good for thrust bearings. So good thing I caught it right away, and good thing I didn't sit on the chip all day long. So then I went into tearing into fixing that. And what the deal was there, right before sick week, I put a solid state relay in my dump valve control. And I kind of had forgotten how I had previously wired it. And I wasn't really thinking about what the solenoid was actually doing, which was going to pulse 12 volts to the solenoid. And I already had a 12 volt wire running to it, but it took me an hour or so of dinking around to figure that out. Like, that's what I did. And so then once I realized that, I got everything fixed and went to hit the starter, and boom, no fuel pump. I was like, what happened to the fuel pump? So I started messing around, and I let it sit for a little while. Then it came back on, started the car. Didn't really check the dump because I was just concerned about the fuel pump at that point. Shut it off and was sitting for a little bit, and then after that, she was a no-go. No power, would not start, nothing. And so last night when I got home, I pulled the fuel pump out of it, and you can see I put these hoses on it because I was going to bench test it with flow and fuel, but I don't really have a great way to do it without making a tremendous mess, which draining the fuel tank is already a tremendous mess. So I just wasn't really in the mood to make another one. So I'll show you. This is what it sounds like. I've seen people comment on, like, because I posted it on Turbo Bullet, like, what is the deal with this? And everyone says Aeromotive's customer support is fantastic, so hopefully they can get me fixed up, because I don't want to be out too long, you know. But so I got the ground on here, and I'll show you what it sounds like. And some people say this is what they sound like dry. I don't think this is what mine sounded like dry when I first started using it, but it sounds like some pretty slow RPMs in there. But I don't really know, I guess, but I'm gonna call them and tell them what happened, because I double checked all the relays. Like, I checked it all this morning too. Now that I had the fuel pump out, I tested all the relays coming from the wires and everything like that. Everything's got 12 volts. Hook the pump back up to it, no fuel, it'll spin over. But I just don't know. I'd even jumpered it at the track. I hooked up 12 volts and went straight from the battery right to the power wire of the pump. Nothing. It just, you could just hear it go like it was just trying to spin, but it just couldn't do it. So don't know exactly what's wrong with it. Like I said earlier, I heard that their customer service is fantastic, so I'll give them a call and see if they can help me out, or send it in, or they can fix it under warranty or something, because I don't really want it to cost me an arm and a leg, because that pump's like $2,000 new. So I don't know. Definitely sucks, you know. I do not want to spend $2,000 right now on that pump. That's super lame. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how racing goes, I guess. Sometimes you break shit, and that's how it is. I did figure out the dump valve, and I just took it off and did the same exact bench test I did to that pump. Just give it 12 volts, and the thing's clicking, so it's working. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's working. But once I get the car back up and running, I'll thoroughly check all that stuff out here in the driveway and make sure everything's functioning as it should, and we're not getting a crazy amount of converter pressure. And as shocking as it is, I feel like that really helps the car like flash and go having that dump valve open while I'm on the trans brake, because it seemed like yesterday it was lazy getting out of the hole, and that would be the only real change. I mean, the converter's different, but still, it seemed like it went a lot harder last year, but we'll find out. That's all come in due time with some more testing. So, I mean, other than those two problems, I mean, the car drove straight, the motor ran great, has fantastic oil pressure, the fuel trims were awesome, so I'm not upset about anything like that. You know, may have seemed like it was a waste of a day, but we got 2 runs out of the way. You know, went down the track a couple times. The car does a great line lock burnout, so if you're wondering why my burnouts aren't so gnarly as they always used to be, that's why, because I'm starting to use the line lock instead of being a psychopath and mashing it on the trans brake. But keeps the trans temp down too. Trans never got higher than 140, so that's pretty awesome. Just starting to try to be nice to stuff, you know. You kind of get caught up in going fast, and then one thing don't work, and you're like, well, screw it, we'll just do this the easy way. But that gets to be a little hard on parts, and I don't want to blow up a car in the burnout again. That was super dumb. It does nice, easy burnouts. I even data logged the burnouts, and it makes like 10 pounds when I'm just barely into the gas doing it. So that was awesome. Real happy with how that turned out. Real happy with how the car drove. I mean, it drives just dead straight. Went like 124 on each pass, so not bad. Low boost, you know, working into it. Can't complain. Hopefully the fuel pump thing is easy. That'd be my only complaint, because that would just be no fun. You know, after all the money everything's costed this spring, that would be not ideal, but we'll get her figured out. Not a massive deal, and that's a pretty easy fix. I had the pump and the fuel tank drain and everything in like 45 minutes last night, so not super bad at all. But other than that, it's about all I got. Like I said, gonna call Automotive, and hopefully they can get all this handled and we're not out too long. But that'll probably be it for videos on this until I can get some more parts in. I will do a video because I have a fire suppression system over here for it. My dad bought this, said it's probably a good idea to run it. So I have this whole kit here that I'm gonna put up in there to, you know, safety stuff. You gotta be safe. You can't be out there doing crazy stuff with these crazy cars, because it can bite you in the butt. So gonna install that. My diaper ended up shredding finally. I took a pretty good beating on it last year at Catch the Creek, put a hole in the back of it. Now it's completely junk, so I gotta buy a new diaper. And then one other thing I'm considering is switching to a 14-volt system, but I gotta do a little more research on that before I do it, so we'll see. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the couple little passes that we got. I'll be back out soon. Once I get that fuel pump back in, we'll be ripping again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.